What's up, y'all? I got an unorthodox. The phone's on the steering wheel until I get me a little something to do. We gonna get it together. It's gonna get better and better. I'm new to this video thing, of course. Want to give y'all a story. I got my morning mud. Got my stock brew coffee real quick. Want to give y'all a quick little story. You know, people been pinging me saying, hey, you know, I like your stories and stuff like that. Keep it going. So we'll keep it going. It's about 30 degrees outside today. Expecting some snow. I don't know if it's gonna stick. I want to give you a little story about B.A. Bob. I talked about him, I believe, in one of the chapters. You know, the book is 500 pages, of course. B.A. Bob, business analyst Bob. Business analyst Bob, I was working, my first experience with him, y'all know how I classify all these characters that I got in the back of the glossary. B.A. Bob, you'll find him in a lot of these corporations. The first time I met a B.A. Bob was, I was at a manufacturing site on my first Windows 7 migration contract. That was back in, let me see. That was quite some time ago. I don't know how much I was making around that time. It was 20 something, or I don't remember how much I was making. I don't know what it was, but it was my first time. They had somebody there doing a Windows 7 migration. The dude wasn't doing very well. He was there a couple days. When I got there, they said that the guy couldn't hardly get anything done. I got the project up and running. And they told me that. They were like, oh, well, this was just a test going through your recruiter. I won't say the recruiter's name, but they said, yeah, you know, we were only going to have you in here a week just to see how you did. And I'm like, well, damn, I wish the agency would have told me that. But he said, well, yeah, man, you done knocked out a lot of this and a lot of that. I got the project way ahead of schedule. And it got to the point where I got so much work done that the owner of the company, he pulled me to the side because they had a lot of manufacturing sites. They were using SolidWorks. It was an engineering firm. And the owner of the company, the CEO, he pulled me into his room one day. He says, DP, they didn't call me DP, but you know, he says, DP, I like the way you run your shop. I like how you do things around here. And I feel like we don't have a standard operating procedure. And he was talking about something that didn't have anything to do with my position. I was just a temp worker. But he says, you know, you done came up with some documentation for stuff. He said, you know, people will be here 20, 30 years. There's really no standard operating procedure. What do you think about that? I said, well, you know, you want to have some kind of knowledge transfer system in place. I said, if you got this guy that's been here 20, 30 years, and he sat me down. He poured me up a cup of coffee. Reminded me of a movie. So he's asking me little questions or whatever, and then he says, listen, you're probably not going to be around here too much longer, but nevertheless, you know, if you have any issues, you come to me. And I was like, well, what issues? And he said, don't worry about it. He said, somebody gives you a problem, he said, you let me know. He said, and that problem will get solved. I'm like, okay. So, you know, it wasn't really too many brothers up in there. This was the owner of the company that said this to me. So, back to B.A. Bob. The business analyst guy, he was supposed to be running the project. He wasn't really doing anything. He was just one of them dudes, blonde and present. You know, young white guy, kind of Poindexter dude. You know, he was supposed to kind of manage. He had his little spreadsheet. He was supposed to be managing, quote unquote, you know, checking out the milestones and all of this. I had all of that stuff that I was doing. I just sent him the report. So he would go into his little meetings and say, oh, we're here and we're there. You know, pretty much taking all the work, making it seem like he did a bunch. He didn't do nothing but sit around and drink coffee and play Angry Birds all day. That's all he really did, to be quite honest. So while I'm out there slaving away, deploying the machines, there was a section where I would go and I would deploy some of the machines, and there was like this secretary. younger white lady, you know, all the guys liked her and stuff like that, you know, and every time I go over to the manufacturing side where all the engineers are, you know, she's always striking up a conversation. So she's liking me a lot. And I'm just like, you know, I'll talk, I'll keep a cordial and stuff, I may crack a joke here and there. B.A. Bob didn't like that. Oh, B.A. Bob thought I was trying to get down with Susie. I'm just here to work, you know. But B.A. Bob, I guess, may have tried to get some play, couldn't get no play. So every time he sees me over in this little area deploying computers and I'm having a word with Susie, B.A. Bob, oh, what's the status? He tried to break up the conversation. What's the status of this and what's the status of that and this, that, and the third. I said, well, you know, sir, you can check the reports. He wasn't no manager of mine. But see, he was putting he self-deputized himself. Hey, Negro, you get back to work. Get back on that plantation and pick that cotton. I don't want you out here talking to this white woman. That's what his whole thing was. You know, so, you know, I didn't really pay him no mind after that. But, you know, every time, you know, I come back into the office and I have my little section. I had like a little mini office where I was at, so nobody bothered me. B.A. Bob will pop in and see what the updates are. He done already had the updates, but he just wants to make sure that I'm so-called working or whatever the case may be. I was way ahead of the project. What he didn't know was some of the system engineers, they were so happy, especially the IT director, they were so happy that I got the shit back on sale. They were like, man, we didn't know what we were going to do, man, if you didn't come in here, you know. But they didn't tell me that when I first started the agency, when I got the job from the agency. They were in some bad shape, and I was kind of ahead of the schedule. So the sysadmin told me, man, you could just sit here and watch YouTube or whatever. You could do whatever you want to do. I mean, it was months on end. You know, I was just kind of sitting there. I deploy a computer. I called and schedule somebody up at that time. And, you know, so, you know, B.A. Bob, I seen him in his little, I caught him playing Angry Birds at his desk one time. So I just could creep up behind him one day and I'm like, hey, Bob, what's the status with the report? And I was just messing with him. He did not like it. There was a meeting one time when I came in and I was getting ready to deploy a computer. The owner must have heard that B.A. Bob was trying to basically deputize himself, because I never went to nobody, but somebody must have said something. I don't know what it was. But the most powerful person in the room, you see, the most powerful white person in the room, according to the code, when I came in the room and I came to deliver a computer, I said, oh, well, you know, the owner must have seen me. And he says, Derek, hey, come on in. Have something to eat. Have some coffee. Hey, Bob. He put Bob on the spot. Hey, Bob, you met Derek before, huh? I'm like, he said, oh, yeah, you know, I read him, yeah, he's a good worker, blah, blah, blah. He said, hey, Bob. He said, yeah, he says, you know, make sure you have updates for Derek. Make sure you let him know exactly what's going on with the project after he updates you in the spreadsheet or something like that. And then Bob said, oh, yeah. And he said, and Derek, remember, if you got any problems with anybody, you let me know. We'll get rid of that problem. B.A. Bob sitting there, he's sitting there tense. He's sitting there tense because a lot of times, man, they know these guys don't be doing nothing. Sometimes they know they don't be doing nothing. So B.A. Bob was, and every time I seen Bob, until the end of that contract, I was messing with, hey, Bob, what level are you on Angry Birds? It was Angry Birds around. I don't know what he was using at that time. I think it was Angry Birds. It was some little program he was using, you know, some little video game or whatever. But, you know, you'll have situations like that sometimes. You'll have a dude that'll just want to self-deputize himself. There was nothing incompetent about what I was doing. I was very competent in my position. It saved the company a lot of money. I knew I wasn't going to work there. I had no intention on working there. They did have a help desk position open at the time. There was a white guy that was in that position, and I used to just kind of see him go back and forth delivering monitors and stuff like that. It didn't really seem like they had a lot going on, but that, like I say, that was my first Windows 7 migration. And that's my story on B.A. Bob. So I'll upload this in a minute. Y'all take care.